Hello, I'm Dr. Gwen. I'm a psychologist who's been empowering the neurodiverse and disabled community for over 25 years. My channel is all about collecting, curating, and creating content that I've professionally found to benefit my clients and to make these things more accessible to those who need it. In this video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about IEPs. My hope is that you'll have a solid understanding of what they are, who they are for, and what their purpose is. My personal goal is that I'll be able to do all of this in under 10 minutes. So, what is an IEP? IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. And it's not uncommon to hear people use the word IEP to refer to the meeting where the IEP is discussed or to the program or plan itself. It's important to know that the IEP is covered by the Federal Special Education Law, IDEA, or the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act of 1975. This means that the IEP is a legal document that ensures that students with a disability are provided free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. The main goal of an IEP is to provide students with disabilities the same opportunities for education as students without disabilities. So, who qualifies for an IEP? Well, public education students in the United States from birth through high school graduation or 21, whichever comes first. IEPs do not cover college students. To qualify for an IEP, a student must meet two conditions. First, a student must be identified with one of the 13 disability categories that the IDEA covers. I'll go over each category in just a minute. The second condition that must be met is that students' school performance must be adversely affected by this disability. So, not all students who struggle in school qualify for an IEP. Okay, let's cover the 13 disability categories. Autism spectrum disorder, specific learning disabilities like dyslexia, dyscalculia, or dysgraphia, other health impairments like ADHD, emotional disturbance, which can include students with anxiety, depression, and obsessive compulsive disorder, speech or language impairments, visual impairments, including blindness, and just as an aside, students who have correctable vision by wearing glasses will not qualify in this category. Hearing impairments, and a little caveat on this one as well, it includes students who have hearing loss, but not students who have auditory or language processing deficits. Deafness. Similar to the visual impairment category, these students can't hear most or all sounds even with a hearing aid. Deaf blindness. So these are students with both severe hearing loss and vision loss who aren't supported appropriately by a program for the deaf or for the blind. Orthopedic impairments like cerebral palsy, intellectual disability, traumatic brain injuries, multiple disabilities, which include students that meet multiple conditions covered by the IDEA. Sometimes when a student has significant challenges and carries several identifications, using this category can be helpful to communicate that one type of program may not meet the entirety of the student's needs. So, who is involved in the IEP? The IEP is developed by a team of people, and the law requires the participation of certain team members. Here's who they are. Parents and guardians, who are really the key members of an IEP team. Parents are experts on their children and can add valuable information about their child's strengths, struggles, and interests. Parents and guardians are also encouraged to share their educational concerns and worries. A general education teacher that knows how a student is doing in the classroom and their grasp of the general education curriculum. A special education teacher who can offer input on how to support the student in the general education setting or who's been primarily teaching the student. A school district representative who has the power to approve supports and services. This person should also be qualified to provide or supervise special education services. An expert to interpret testing or evaluation results. This can be the special education teacher or a school psychologist. Depending on the results, it can also include speech and language therapists, physical therapists, and occupational therapists. The student. Students are included on IEP teams when they turn 16 and should be involved in their transition plans. When students attend IEPs, please be mindful about keeping things positive, constructive, and empowering. And if a translator is needed, they need to be there too. Know that one person can play multiple roles. For example, the special education teacher can also be the expert that interprets testing results. Apart from members who are required by the law, There are other people who can also be invited. These include advocates, family friends, attorneys, or providers from the private sector that really know a student and can add value to the program. If you want to invite someone to the IEP, make sure to make a request beforehand. So, what are the main parts of an IEP? An IEP starts with gaining a good understanding of the student. Strengths, interests, and concerns are shared by all members of the team. A present level of academic achievement and functional performance, or PLAFT, is also done. The PLAFT is a snapshot of how the student is academically, behaviorally, and socially performing. This is typically the time when any data that has been collected is shared. Data can include things like test results, grades, observations, and behavior logs. Annual goals and objectives are next and are the main driver of the services and supports that a student will receive. Because of this, I highly recommend that you spend the most time on creating really great goals. Goals should be realistic, achievable, and measurable. Goals should also be written to cover all the identified areas of need. They should also be based on data. They can include academic, behavioral, social, language, movement, and transition areas. After goals are written, accommodations and modifications are identified. There can be some confusion between accommodations and modifications, and even though this is a video about IEPs, I think it's worth just a little detour. Accommodations help students complete the same level of work as their peers. These are typically physical or environmental changes. For example, the use of a note taker when a student has a visual motor challenge is a common example of an accommodation. Modifications, on the other hand, involve changes to instruction and curriculum, or really a deliberate lowering of instructional content that is delivered. For example, making an assignment easier, reducing homework, or changing grading to pass or fail are some examples of a modification. Okay, back to IEPs. Services are the next main part of an IEP. Services are based on the proposed goals and can be academic and non-academic, and it can include counseling, speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, recreational therapy, adaptive PE, transportation, and one-on-one support. If a student is turning 16, an individual transition plan, or ITP, must be included in the IEP. This plan is meant to help students successfully and smoothly transition into post-high school or adult life. If your student is 16 and over, please make sure an ITP is in your IEP. The IEP ends with a signature page that shows who participated. There is also a section where parents or guardians and students, if appropriate, sign to indicate that they agree with the IEP. As with anything that has legal implications and person-centered outcomes, I recommend that parents and students don't sign their IEPs right away in the meeting. Rather, get the draft, read it over, and fully understand the goals and supports your child will be getting. Do the goals make sense? Are the services and supports adequate to meet the goals? Does the plan match what you had in mind for your child's educational growth over the course of the next school year? Plan on attending an IEP meeting every year where progress will be reviewed and new goals will be written. Know that you can schedule an addendum meeting at any time if you have any concerns. You don't need to wait a year if you're worried about something or concerned about something. Parents, also ask for those quarterly progress reports where the objectives of each goal are measured so that you can keep track of your child's progress. Okay, that's it. I think I did it. I think I did this in under 10 minutes. I hope that this video helped you know what an IEP is, who's eligible for an IEP, and what the main parts of an IEP are. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. These are some of the best ways to support the work that I do. Also, if you have a video that you'd like me to make, leave it in the comment below. Thanks for watching.